Mobile marketing has really finally hit its stride. It's coming down the pike pretty quickly. Your consumers are using mobile marketing all the time right now. So if you're in business and you want to stay in business, you're smart to be kind of getting into this now. A lot of confusion out there right now about mobile marketing. People are just confused by it. Mostly people are sitting around saying, oh my gosh, I just got through figuring out social media, and now you want me to learn about mobile media. I'm too tired to do that. I literally had an email from somebody yesterday saying that exact thing to me. Well, the good news is Jeanne and I are here to simplify things, kind of get it pretty much straightened out for you so you can at least see the landscape for mobile marketing, and that should give you an opportunity to kind of understand things. So on your screen right now, you should be seeing something that says everything you ever wanted to know about mobile, but were afraid to ask, with Jeanne Hopkins, from the Director of Marketing at Hubspot's logo there, as well as my logo there with the 60-Second Marketer. Jeanne, how you been?
I'm fantastic, thank you. Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me, Jamie.
Absolutely. For those of you who don't know, Jeanne and I are writing a book together called Go Mobile. It's due to the publisher literally next Friday. So we are scrambling, but not so much that we couldn't sit down and say, let's go ahead and do a mobile marketing webinar before we kick things off. So let's see if your screen is should be showing something different. I'm not showing that showing up on Nicole's screen. I'm joined today by Nicole Hall, who is with us, and Nicole is joining us to be able to sit down and monitor your questions and fill in and hear all your questions as you record them. I'm on your screen right now. You should be seeing Jeanne Hopkins' pretty face, and I'm going to introduce Jeanne here. She's the Director of Marketing at HubSpot. She's responsible for top-of-the-funnel inbound marketing programs at HubSpot. As you guys know, the sales funnel for B2B or B2C is all about pulling in leads. At the very top of the funnel, what you're trying to do is get people to come in and engage with your brand, and as they move further and further down the funnel, you'll go ahead and convert them from prospects to customers. Jeanne is responsible for the top of the funnel inbound marketing programs at HubSpot. She was named one of the top 20 women to watch in sales lead management, and is co-authoring Go Mobile with me, and is an all-around decent human being. I've gotten to know Jeanne very well over the past couple of months, and it's been absolutely a blast getting to know her. We're having a little bit of trouble on some of the screens, so I'm going to shift over to a different mode here, where you can see my ugly face, and there's Jamie Turner. I'm the author of How to Make Money with Social Media, and I'm working on Go Mobile with Jeanne, as I mentioned, but to be released in 2012. Been profiled in the world's best-selling advertising promotions textbook, and I speak around the globe on the topics of social media, mobile marketing, and branding. If you want to download these slides, because that's one of the first questions that always comes up, you can download these slides at 60secondmarketer.com/keynote speaker. So just go to that page. We'll talk about it a little bit again, but go to that page and you'll be able to see all the speeches I've done lately and some slides there. Just hit download slides now. Before we dive into the crux of the program, I want to mention one thing that Jeanne and I are doing coming up. It's called the Go Mobile Conference and Workshop. It's in Atlanta on October 6th. It's basically for people like you on the phone and on the webinar today who are interested in learning how to use mobile marketing to grow their sales and revenue. One of the coolest things about it, other than the fact that Jeanne and I will be there, is that we're having an all-star mobile marketing panel, and that'll include people from Google, Kodak, IBM, and Spanx, and we may even get somebody from CNN there. So if you're interested in hearing what Jeanne at HubSpot, Jamie at 60-Second Marketer, and other people at Google, Kodak, IBM, and Spanx want to tell you about mobile marketing, then you don't want to miss this thing. You can go to gomobile.eventbrite.com and order tickets there. It's a great event, a lot of stuff going on there, and I'm really looking forward to it. So before I ramble on any more about that, I'm going to turn it over to Jeanne. She's going to talk to us about mobile media facts and figures. Jeanne, over to you.
Thanks a lot, Jamie. One of the things that we realized is that many marketers that are, some of you that are on the call right now, some of you that might come to the Go Mobile conference next month, you don't really realize exactly how many people are interested in mobile and how many people are actually using their mobile devices as they form a computer. It's a handheld computer. And one of the things that we did write a blog post in the HubSpot blog, and we did use this statistic about that with all the people, the billions of people on the planet, there's a portion of which that own a mobile phone, and there's more people that own a mobile phone than own a toothbrush. And we had a number of people, didn't we, Jamie, that asked, well, how did you know this statistic about the toothbrush? And
Yeah.
we had a variety of different sources. One was the American College of Dentistry that had done some extrapolation of some data, and there was another kind of a source, but we actually found the source of this particular bit of information. But the point being is that you might own a mobile phone, but you're using it, and the point is that it's so important to your life. It is part of who you are and what you do every single day in engaging with the internet or looking at your email or social networks. And then this is really pretty astounding. Steve Jobs is an amazing man, and the growth rate of the iPhone being 10 times faster than the growth rate of the America Online. And when you really think about it, AOL, when it started somewhat like 25 years ago, when you look at people being early adopters, they had to have a computer, and then they had to be accustomed to it. So people getting the iPhone, they were people that were accustomed to using a computer in their everyday life, and now they could take it with them everywhere. And there is some little crazy factoid out there about the number of people that actually use their phone in the bathroom. And I think to myself, the only thing I ever do with my phone in the bathroom is usually drop it in the toilet, because I've lost a few phones that have fallen out of pockets that way. But statistically, it's very interesting how phones are part of your life. And then this thing from Gartner, which is a well-known research organization, by 2013, and I'm sorry everybody, 2013 is just 15 months away, 15 months. And the number one way people are going to be accessing the internet is through their phones. And this is something you have to think about as a marketer and say, oh my gosh, and Jamie, you said this earlier, you're trying to figure out, how do I make this work as part of my marketing mix? How do I start thinking about this? Now, you're not going to make wholesale changes today, but in the next slide that Jamie's going to pull up right now, here's a couple more reasons that you might want to be able to think about some figures. You know that we know statistically, this research has been validated again and again. There's really good organizations out there, the Mobile Marketing Association, which happens to be a HubSpot customer. There's a lot of really good publications. And what we're seeing from an e-commerce standpoint is that 10 times the redemption rate is occurring with people using their mobile phones versus clipping them out of the newspaper. And then this is what's kind of critical too, is that your mobile searches, your local mobile searches, you're searching on your phone and you're looking for a restaurant, or you're looking for a dry cleaner, or you're looking for whatever, they're acted on within an hour. Within an hour, so there's this immediacy that happens with local search. And then this one is kind of, it's like another little fun factoid as well, is that people don't want to be without their phone. They don't want to be without their phone in any capacity. So if you leave your house, right, you might leave without your wallet, but you're definitely not going to leave without your phone. And there's a little bit more information we want to be able to share with you too. There's a lot of myths out there, and one of the reasons that Jamie and I wanted to talk about the myths is we talk about this in the book that we've been working on, because as a marketing professional, I've been curious and trying to figure out how to work mobile into the B2B application space, what we do at HubSpot. One of the things that everybody does not have an iPhone. I don't have an iPhone, but you have an iPhone, Jamie, don't you?
I absolutely do.
I have an Android. But when you look at the entire universe of people that own mobile phones, only about 35% have one of these kinds of smartphones. And by smartphones, it's usually the ones with a data plan that allow you to access the internet. But the point being is that not everybody has the iOS operating system. So you want to think about all the different types of systems that you might be able to be found on. And it's not a matter of being either Android or whatever, but the next myth is that you need to have an app for that. There's a lot of apps. People are building apps right, left, and center, but mobile websites are very, very easy to build, and there's a lot of companies, by using HTML5, it's very easy to be able to build a mobile website that gives you functionality, and it's not limiting to try to promote yourself as having an app. But there's some features, you know, GPS I use on my Android. I use a GPS navigation feature. But you want to be able to have people be able to find you, and using that mobile website is pretty critical. You don't need to build an app in order to have a mobile website. Mobile is the internet, just smaller. That's a myth, because let's just take a look at what people used to do when radio went to television. People tried to make television ads like a radio commercial. And then when television went to the internet in terms of promotional, people did internet or World Wide Web commercials or infomercials the same way that they tried to do a television commercial, and that didn't work. And going to mobile environment, it's not that you're taking your desktop view of the world and trying to shrink it down to a mobile screen. You want to make this simple, super easy for people to be able to find, recognizing that people are searching and they want immediate information. And the next myth is particularly of interest to me. Myth number 4, it's not just for big companies. 75% of marketers really want to be able to add mobile to their marketing mix. They know that they need to do it. They're just trying to figure out how to do it. So we're recommending, first of all, I like to recommend optimizing your website for mobile, so that if you've ever tried to look at somebody's site on a phone, for example, if you're running Flash, Jamie wouldn't be able to see your website because it doesn't support Flash. You want to make sure that your business listing is up to date on Google, and you also want to make sure that you could be found on Foursquare and Gowalla. All those things won't cost you a penny. It's pretty easy to be able to do all of those things, and it's something that you really need to kind of consider. And then guess what? You're already involved. You're already thinking about it and being involved in mobile marketing. And the fifth myth, that sounds like I'm lisping here, is mobile is not just for teenagers. It's kind of interesting that when you see the sheer volume of teens that are sending text messages, you say, well, that's not me. But the average age of person who sends text messages or short message services, SMS, is 35 years old, okay? The number of baby boomers that are texting and shopping has doubled until 2009. And it's probably, we don't have any more recent statistics, but you can only imagine how explosive it's been. And 35 to 44-year-olds, nice demographic, are most likely to have downloaded an app in the last 30 days. So the point is, it's not just for kids. It's for business people, and it's something that you need to think about. And now, Jamie, you're going to be talking. You've got a lot of awesome content right now.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jeanne. Terrific job. Jeanne's really just covered off on here's the landscape, and then here's some myths about mobile media. Now we're going to kind of get into the nuts and bolts of mobile media. And one of the things that we opened with was saying, hey, let's kind of simplify mobile media. It's probably pretty confusing to a lot of people, and Jeanne and I in our book Go Mobile have kind of figured out a way to simplify things so it gives you a sense of the tools that are out there. And we're about to go through those right now. But before we do, let's talk about specifically how brands connect with consumers using mobile marketing. As you guys know, there's 4 different primary operating systems within the mobile world. Now, an operating system is no more complex than basically what Windows is to your desktop or what the Apple operating system is to your Apple computer. In similar fashion, your mobile phone needs kind of an operating system to make it work. And there's 4 primary ones out there. There are actually a couple of other ones out there in addition to these, but these are the 4 main ones. Google with Android owns 39% of the market share in the U.S. I know we've got people from around the globe with us today. These are U.S. statistics right now, but if you look down at that source down on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, GS Stat Counter, they have global data for this, and we actually reference that in the book. In the U.S., Research in Motion or BlackBerry owns 20% of the market. Here's a statistic for you. In 2009, they owned 50% of the market. They're now down to 20%. Bad news for BlackBerry. iPhone by Apple, 28%. Windows Phone, which is actually not a bad little operating system. As Jeanne mentioned, I'm kind of an Apple guy, but Windows is actually doing pretty good with their operating system. So let's take a look at how people use smartphones. Well, they check and send emails. 82% of the people who have a smartphone check and send email using it. 56% read news articles. 69% look up directions. All of this gives you a sense of how people are using the mobile phone. So smartphone. So if you want to download these statistics, as I mentioned, they're available on the website, 60secondmarketer.com/keynote speaker, uppercase K, uppercase S. And we're moving through some of this data a little rapidly, so if you want to revisit it, you can download it there. Here's all the different things that you can use in mobile marketing to connect with customers. The first is mobile websites. Most of us are familiar with that. The second is SMS. The third is MMS. Most of us are pretty familiar with that. MMS is basically just texting with video attached. Then there are mobile display ads. Those are just the banner ads that you see. Mobile paid search. When you're driving around in your car and you're hungry and you go to Google or Bing or Yahoo on your phone and you say Italian restaurants, boop, up pops the Italian restaurants. The ones at the very top are paid search, using mobile paid search for that. Then there's something called proximity marketing. This is really cool stuff. Location-based services, near-field communications, Bluetooth, and location-based advertising. 4 things that are confusing when you first hear about them and then get simplified. We're going to talk about those a little bit later. Apps is the big thing everybody talks about. 2D codes, you're probably familiar with them. By the way, get your mobile phones ready. Hopefully you've got a 2D code reader, a QR code reader installed on there, because in a minute we're going to show you a QR code I want you to scan, and somebody's going to win a free book based on it. Mobile email and tablet computing, those are 2 other things that people are using in the world of mobile. Let's start by talking about mobile websites. Well, if you have your smartphone handy, in most cases if you type in 60secondmarketer.com, it's going to direct you over to the mobile site that we've created on the 60-Second Marketer. Now let me mention something. The platforms are emerging, so there's certain cell phones where you'll type in 60-Second Marketer and you'll get our standard site on the left-hand side, or it'll be kind of junky. That's just because the platform is evolving an awful lot. But in most cases, you'll be driven over to the one on the right-hand side, and that'll show you basically what you're looking for on a mobile website. Something very streamlined, very simple. As you're developing your mobile website, be thinking of this. What are people doing when they're visiting my site from a mobile phone? Guess what? They're mobile. So they are walking around. They're looking for things. They're not looking for press releases from your company. They're not looking for information on your corporate philosophy. What they are looking for is, give me directions, give me a map, give me your phone number, give me a discount code so that when I walk into your store I can have it scanned and get a special offer by visiting your website before I go. Those are the kinds of things that you want to remember as you go through this. Well, let's talk about SMS and MMS, which is basically texting and then also video texting. Well, SMS, as you know, is basically a way to go in and text people messages. You do have to have people opting in order to legally text them anything. Make sure you don't break that rule, because the bottom line is people take their mobile phones, their cell phones, their smartphones very personally. And if you interrupt them in any way, you're really invading their privacy. And if they have not given you permission to do that, they are pretty upset. So be sure you opt people in. You can go to companies that specialize in SMS. Air2Web is one of them. And you go to them and just say, hey, basically I want to do an SMS campaign. Basically I want to get people to text me and opt in for things and be able to use it. Now, it's the most common phone-based activity among U.S. cell phone users of all ages, used by American Idol, the American Red Cross, and others. It's also used by CNN, Mashable, and ABC News for push notifications. That's where basically they send you a little text saying, hey, here's a headline you need to know about. It's also used by doctors to remind patients of appointments. And then finally, it's used by airlines to update people on their flights. So those are some of the uses of SMS that you can do out there. Now, what about MMS? Well, multimedia message services. Basically, what is that? That's sending a text, images, audio, animations, video. So it's basically kind of an enhanced text version of what you're doing. If you're a marketer, if you're a business owner, you might send a text to people saying, hey, here's a video of the chef at our restaurant, and he or she's giving the secrets of his onion soup recipe, and we've got a little video for you here. That's a nice, pleasant surprise for somebody who has opted in to your restaurant to go ahead and receive SMS or MMS messages from you. Again, that's one of the more common uses. A lot of people are already familiar with the Haiti experience with the American Red Cross. When the Haiti disaster happened a few years ago, the American Red Cross already had set up a system where you could text Haiti to the American Red Cross, and they would actually put a $10 donation in on your behalf that would then be billed through your phone company. So that was a terrific way for the American Red Cross to really jump on a new and emerging technology and embrace it. They ended up generating $30 million in donations, 80% of whom came from people who'd never donated to the American Red Cross before. So can you imagine doing a marketing program where 80% of the people that you engaged with through the marketing program ended up not being customers before but are customers now? Imagine the impact on your bottom line. Or for the American Red Cross, imagine the impact on their ability to go in and raise donations for people in need. So let's talk about the next category, which is mobile display ads. These are just basically banner ads. And one of the things I'm going to encourage people to do who are on this webinar right now is when you come off of the webinar, use mobile media. Go in and start clicking on banner ads. Go in and start texting. Go in and start doing all this stuff, because you can't, as a marketer, you can't use mobile media until you understand mobile media, and you can't understand mobile media until you've actually experienced it. So go ahead and start experiencing it, and that way it'll all work out and click in for you. So mobile display ads are basically banner ads. They're sold on a cost per click, cost per acquisition, or cost per thousand basis. I'm not going to go into the details of all that, but basically if you're in marketing, you're starting to know, okay, I can either buy it on a click basis, which is like the Google format, on an acquisition basis where I pay somebody every time they deliver a lead to me, or on a cost per thousand basis where I just run an ad and I'm not really looking for clicks as much as I'm looking for brand awareness. The popular platforms that you can go to if you want to run a banner ad, if you're not going to go through your ad agency, and I would encourage you to go through your ad agency, by the way. BKV is an ad agency. You can basically go straight to some mobile marketing ad platforms, which are iAd is one, Millennial Media is another, AdMob is the third. Those are basically the big kahunas out there, the big companies that are out there that are saying, okay, cool, you want to run an ad in a bunch of different mobile websites, we can arrange that for you. They're easy, they kind of make it easy. So how can you use banner ads? Well, there's a bunch of different ways you can use banner ads. Here's 6 of them. The first way is when a user clicks the ad, which then uses GPS technology to identify their location and direct them to the nearest store. So for example, you're sitting there, this is a DirecTV website you're at, right? At the bottom, you see the Lexus ad at the bottom of this picture on the left-hand side, and then you click on that ad, it would drive you through. It would say, okay, where is this person? Oh, here's where they are. We're going to get them the information for Lexus of Stevens Creek, the nearest Lexus store. Now, that's a terrific way to use basically location-based advertising to say, hey, we know where you're located, so we're going to give you the store location that's nearest you. You don't want to find out about a store that's located in Seattle. You want to find the one that's located near you. So that's one of the cool ways that you can use basically display ads in order to connect with customers. Another way is to have the user interact with your brand by uploading a picture from their photo file into the branded ad. Coca-Cola did this. They said, hey, here's an ad. We want you to upload a picture of yourself hanging out with a Coca-Cola. So you went in and took a picture, had it on your phone, and then you could upload it to the Coca-Cola ad. So you were engaged in an experience with Coca-Cola and with the ad, and that experience might last 2 or 3 minutes by the time you get done with it. Imagine the impact on creating a link between the consumer and the brand when you're spending 2 or 3 minutes actively engaged with the brand as opposed to 30 seconds passively watching a TV commercial. Suddenly you understand the power and the impact of mobile marketing. So let's keep going. Another form of mobile display ad is where a user clicks an ad to send a coupon code via SMS to any recipient. So basically down at the bottom there, you see an ad. You're on eBay, and at the bottom is an ad for McDonald's. You'll click that, and basically it'll bring up an SMS text that you can send to a friend and to yourself and say, hey, here's a coupon code for you next time you're in at McDonald's. That is sent to your friend. They go into McDonald's with that coupon code and basically share that coupon code or use that coupon code. That's a great way to tap into the viral capabilities of mobile display. Here's another one. The user is encouraged to add a company contact information into their contact list. Again, down at the bottom, you see the ad for Geek Squad. You click on that. It drives you through. It says, hey, do you want Geek Squad to add us into your contact database so that next time you need Geek Squad, we're already in your phone? Absolutely. Click OK. Suddenly it's added in and you're in good shape. That's another use of mobile display. A couple of more. We're going to go into the next one, which is basically users are encouraged to email promotional offers to themselves and to friends. Again, down at the bottom on the left-hand side, you have weekly specials. You can click that. It goes over. It shows you some of the weekly specials at Target. You can email those specials to you and your friends just by clicking a button. And then also the user is encouraged to add an event or activity to their calendar. This is great if you're doing an event like the Go Mobile event on October 6th that we're going to talk about in a minute. And basically what you can do is encourage people to add an event or activity to their calendar. So they push a button down at the bottom. If you want to add the Jersey Shore premiere to your calendar, if so, click OK. Boop. It's added into your calendar and a reminder pops up when that wonderful show, Jersey Shore, comes on the air. Of course, we don't want to miss that. I'm being sarcastic. So the final way is a user is encouraged to take a photo of themselves, which is subsequently added into the branded ad. This is similar to the Coca-Cola one we were talking about earlier, where basically you go in and you say, hey, take an existing photo. We're going to upload you into the ad so that you can show your friends a picture of you in our ad and carry that around. So let's talk about mobile paid search. Now that we've gone through mobile display, we'll talk about mobile paid search. But before we do, another reminder about the Go Mobile Conference. Jeanne and I are running in Atlanta on October 6th. It's going to be a fabulous event. Tickets are available at gomobile.eventbrite.com. And as if it weren't special enough for Jeanne and me just to be there, we also have an all-star panel discussion from Google, Kodak, IBM, and Spanx. If you're interested in what we're talking about today and you want to take a deeper dive and get into an all-day workshop where it's roll up your sleeves and learn this stuff and really figure it out, you're going to want to go to gomobile.eventbrite.com and order a ticket. It's a fabulous workshop. We're really going to have a good time at it. Well, let's talk about some of the activities conducted on mobile devices as we move into paid search for mobile. Well, 18% of people who have a smartphone have searched for local products and services. 16% have searched for information on movies and entertainment. That's one of the big ones, by the way, is people are going in and saying, I'm out on a date. We've decided to go to a movie. Let's go to Fandango.com. I've got the app right here. They already have preloaded in the movies at my local theater, so I can scan it. I can actually press a button, buy the ticket off of my phone, and then the ticket will be a scannable QR code on my phone, so I just have to show that when I go to the ticket booth. So there's some cool things going on in that. One of the key things to remember from this chart here, mobile is local and it's immediate. If you think about what people are doing with their mobile phones, they want to do something quickly. They want to look for information that they can access right away. So people don't go to their mobile phones to do a search on healthcare, as an example, unless you've got an emergency. But if you're looking for detailed information on inflammation of your left knee, you're not going to do that on your mobile phone. You're going to do that on your desktop. But if you're looking for where to eat dinner, where to go to catch a movie, where the nearest restaurant and bar is, where an auto repair store is, where can I buy tires for my car, those are immediate and they're local, and that's the key thing to remember about mobile paid search. Well, let's talk a little bit about proximity marketing, which is a very cool thing. Probably you're going, what the hell is proximity marketing? We're going to talk about that. It's location-based services, near-field communications, Bluetooth marketing, and location-based advertising. So let's talk about each one of those, and we're going to go through them basically. Well, location-based services are basically those services like Gowalla, Foursquare, and Looped. And if you're kind of young and hip and cool, you've probably got Foursquare loaded onto your phone, and basically you know that when you go to a location, when you go to a restaurant or a coffee shop or your dry cleaners or a bookstore or the local Target, you can check in, basically say, I'm here. And if you check in the most times over the course of 30 days, then that company will give you a coupon to reward you for checking in the most times over 30 days. That's not the only way you can use it, though. Chili's went out with Foursquare, and they said, hey, we want to give free cheese dip to everybody who checks into Chili's, not just people who check in the most times, but everybody. And better still, we want to go in and give a free cheese dip to anybody who checks in at any other location, not even a Chili's, but any other location within 200 yards of a Chili's. So if you're down the street checking in to a coffee shop, if you're up the road checking in to a Target store, and you check in, boop, up would pop a coupon for Chili's that said, come on in right now, grab some free cheese dip when you come by Chili's. Remember what we talked about a minute ago? Mobile is about being local, and it's about being immediate. That is local, and that's immediate, and you can get people into your store using that technique. Chili's was genius for figuring that one out, and Foursquare. Now, what about near-field communications? What is near-field communications? Well, NFC, or near-field communications, is basically a way for devices to talk to each other. It's similar to Bluetooth, except the units that are talking to each other and transferring data have to be closer to each other. They can only be 2 to 20 centimeters away, and there's not a ton of bandwidth, so there's not a ton of information that can be transferred. So the primary way people are going to be using NFC is basically by going up and buying things with their mobile devices. When they wave it over the device, you're starting to see these crop up at stores. What will happen is, boop, it'll go to your Google Wallet, it'll go to your PayPal account, it'll even go to your MasterCard or Visa, and you can buy things that way. So that's the future, folks. NFC is coming down the pike. Now, how as a marketer can we use NFC? Because what I just talked about with that transactional stuff is kind of on the business side of the equation. Well, if you're a marketer, here's what's coming down the pike. Keep this on your radar screen. Printers are going to start being able to put NFC chips into in-store promotional posters and billboards and things that are plastered all over a city. And people, instead of going up and scanning a QR code, are going to basically be able to go up and wave their phone over the ad, and it'll drive them through to wherever they need to be driven through to the discount code, to the coupon, to the website, whatever it is. So while there's a lot of talk right now about QR codes, in a couple of years, NFC is going to be replacing QR codes. You heard it here first, folks. You can call me on that if I'm not right, but trust me, I am right. So let's talk about, as I constantly tell my lovely wife, honey, I'm right. Trust me on this one. She doesn't ever believe me. Bluetooth marketing. Let's talk about Bluetooth marketing. Bluetooth marketing is basically very similar to NFC, but Bluetooth was invented in the mid-'90s by Ericsson, and basically what they did was they said, we want to have technology where phones and computers can talk to each other and use it and transfer a lot of data. If you've ever used a mobile headset, that's Bluetooth. If you've ever used anything on your cell phone where it talks to another cell phone, oftentimes that's Bluetooth. So what's ended up happening is if you have a program, an app on your phone called Bump, what you can do is bump your phone together, and it uses Bluetooth to transfer information from one phone to the other. In addition to that, the Mini, the car Mini went in and they said, hey, guess what? We're going to go in and have Bluetooth-enabled cars so that when people drive under this billboard, we'll be able, it's not the car that's enabled, but it's actually the person's cell phone, we'll be able to see that they're driving under the billboard and say, hey, motor on, Jim, and have a personalized billboard for them. A lot of things coming down the pike on Bluetooth and NFC. Now, one of the other cool things, if you're saying, man, I can't deal with NFC, I can't deal with Bluetooth, I can't deal with all this stuff, it's too complex, you can always do a very simple thing called location-based advertising. Location-based advertising uses something called geofencing to figure out where you are. All that is using cell phone triangulation. Your cell phone company knows where you are at all times. And basically what they do is they go in and they say, okay, we know that Jamie's here, we know that Nicole's there, we know that Jean's there. And when you know where somebody is, you're able to send them ads that basically say, hey, you are visiting the ESPN website from downtown Boston on your mobile phone. So Jean's sitting there in Boston, and Jean's in Boston now, Nicole and I are here in Atlanta, and Jean's looking at the ESPN website, and the ESPN website knows, hey, Jean's in Boston because we're using geofencing to figure out where Jean is. We know she's in Boston. We know for a fact that we've got basically a restaurant that Jean would be interested in. We're going to serve up an ad to her that's about the restaurant that's only located in downtown Boston, and we know Jean's within a mile of that location. So it'll come up, a little display ad at the bottom, and it'll say, hey, come and get a 25% discount at this restaurant right now. So that's location-based advertising. It's some fascinating stuff. You can use it with SMS, display ads, paid search to be targeted based on your location. That's probably, out of all the things we've talked about so far, one of the hugest. Again, going back to that theme we talked about, mobile is about immediacy, mobile is about instantaneous or very quick action. The location-based advertising is one of the best ways to do that. Let's talk about mobile apps for a second. That gets a ton of interest from people. And that interest is justified in a lot of ways. But if you're like most people, if you're a small to mid-sized business, you're sitting around going, man, I don't have the bandwidth to go create an app just for my company. I don't have the wherewithal. I don't have the deep pockets to go out and create this stuff. Well, okay, that's understandable. So you might not want to lead with an app. But if you do decide, hey, guess what? I actually do want to go in and do an app, then you can start doing things. Well, let's talk about some of the mobile apps that are out there right now. Of course, LinkedIn has a mobile app where you can basically go into LinkedIn. Amazon has a terrific mobile app where you can go in and scan a barcode, and it will basically tell you how much Amazon can get you that product shipped directly to your house the next day. On the bottom left-hand is Foursquare. We've talked about Foursquare. And then Yelp has an app. Yelp has a terrific app where you go in. Of course, Yelp is a company that does user-generated reviews of bookstores, coffee shops, restaurants, all that sort of stuff. And you can go in and download the Yelp app, and they have an augmented reality app that we're going to talk about right now, where basically you can go in and look at, through your viewfinder on the left-hand side here, you can see it, and see, hey, here are the restaurants on this street, and here's the ratings of those restaurants, and it's a live augmented reality app. There's another app called Lodestone, which basically does the same thing. If any of you are hikers out there, you can go in and basically look through your viewfinder, and Lodestone will tell you the height of the mountain in the distance. It'll tell you that there's a parking lot down at the bottom of the trail at the foot of the mountain. It'll even tell you where the campsites are, so you can go through it and live see all this data and information. Those are augmented reality apps that are all part of the app programming stuff out there right now. So let's talk about 2D codes. 2D codes are basically QR codes. They get a lot of talk lately. Before we dive into that, one last reminder about the Go Mobile Conference and Workshop in Atlanta. Ton of great stuff. If you want to find out more about it, go to gomobile.eventbrite.com. We're going to have an all-star panel discussion with Google, Kodak, IBM, and Spanx there. Jeanne and I are looking forward to seeing you guys there. And if you want to get information on that, just go to gomobile.eventbrite.com. So let's talk about 2D codes. Well, 2D codes can be used to deepen a relationship with an audience. They come in many formats: QR codes, data matrix, easy codes, Microsoft tags, Spark codes, and ScanLife. Those are the primary forms of 2D codes out there. 2D codes are the category. QR codes, easy codes, Microsoft tags are the subcategories or the specific brands. The best place, if you don't already have a 2D code reader installed on your phone, get your phone open, go to a website on your phone, and go to spark.it. They've got a terrific QR code reader on there that reads it very quickly. It's the fastest one I've come across. I've downloaded a lot of them, and it's really a terrific tool. Well, how do you do this as a marketer? What's the process you go through? Well, here's how it works. The marketer goes out and generates a 2D code. And if you want to know where to generate a 2D code or how to generate one, I'll tell you in a second. But the marketer goes out and generates a 2D code. Then they put that 2D code into an ad in a newspaper, as an example. The user goes in and scans the 2D code. They just scan it, and they're driven through to the promotional web page that you've created around the 2D code. And then you can also collect the data. So if you're a B2B marketer, let's say you want people to download a free white paper, and you want them to be able to do that, and you want to collect that data. Well, you go create a web page, you generate the code, step one, you deploy it either on your website or in an ad. The user would then, on step three, scan it, and then they'd be driven through to a page where they could very easily download the white paper. And what you want to do on that form, by the way, since it's mobile, is make it a very simple form to fill out, because people don't like to type in too many things on mobile devices, of course. And then the marketer, as a marketer, you'll be able to collect the data, who downloaded it, how they did it, what happened there. Terrific stuff going on the 2D code front. So grab your phones. Here's a little bit more information. 2D code can drive people to websites, to phone numbers, to contact information, and even to text messages. In fact, the first person to scan this code right here and send me a text message wins a copy of my book, How to Make Money with Social Media. So scan this. You'll be able to scan it right now. You'll be able to then text me a message. You can text me anything. Hey, Jamie. Hi, Jamie. Whatever you want. I want the book, all that sort of stuff. The first person to do that wins a copy of How to Make Money with Social Media. I've already got one in, and somebody called me, somebody in the 804 area code. Can't answer you right now, my friend, but somebody beat you to the punch. Hang on one second. And I did get a text from 202-744-9380, whoever that is, and sorry for reading your phone number out loud like that. I didn't mean to do that. Everybody's laughing at me in the office for doing that. But anyway, I will respond back to that text and let you know, and we'll collect your data and information. Thank you guys for doing that. You'll get a free copy of the book. So then the question is, where the hell do I download a 2D code reader? It makes sense that I should have had this slide up earlier so that everybody on the call could download a 2D code reader if you haven't already. But go to btag.com or spark.it, as I mentioned, and you'll be able to download the QR code reader. Here's where you can generate a QR code, because a lot of people are like, where do I generate these things? And you basically generate the code by going to the 60-second marker. There are plenty of QR code generators, by the way, online. But you can go to the 60-second marker, go to our blog, and down on the bottom right-hand side, you can go down and generate your QR code by putting in the URL that you want to drive people to. And I just got a text, by the way, from somebody saying, do you have a contest to win Spanx? So somebody's picking up on one of the people who are going to be at our Go Mobile conference in a little while. But thank you for the texts. We already have the winner for the book. No Spanx, unfortunately. So coming back to the slide, if you want to generate a QR code, you can go to the 60-second marketer website, go to the bottom right-hand side, and generate your QR code there. So let's talk about some of the uses of 2D codes. Well, here's the way people are using them around the globe. Number one is you can go in and put up a billboard on the side of a truck like this company did in the UK, I believe it was, and basically people can see the full picture when they scan the QR code. And, of course, the full picture is the full picture. So then another way to use it is to put it on hello, my name is tags at conferences. I was at a conference just last week where they had gone to the trouble of going in and everybody had an individualized QR code where you could scan it and swap information that way. It was a terrific way to use QR codes. Another way, T-shirts. Put it on a T-shirt. Get people to use it. And basically the QR code will say, hey, guess what? You'll get a special discount or whatever it is you're offering when you drive people through to a web page that's linked to the QR code. And then also, of course, Delta has a terrific app where you can go in and basically get your check in on the Delta app, and it'll send you a QR code that can be scanned not only at security but at the Delta counter, so that you can go in and basically you don't have to carry a ticket around anymore. You just have them scan it, and it's all taken in. If you haven't used that Delta app, by the way, do so. It's an absolutely terrific app. And then, of course, real estate agents are using them. If you're a real estate agent, you can't always be at the home that you're trying to sell. What do? You put up a QR code, and basically people who see the home and they like the exterior can scan the QR code, see a video that you've created of the inside of the home, and then decide, oh, I think I will go ahead and call this agent up. So here's specifically how you would do that. I'm going to walk you through step by step, but this example will give you a clear example of how to use QR codes, whether you're using them as a real estate agent or not. The first step would be go create a video of the inside of the house with you. You're the real estate agent. Walk through the house. Here's the kitchen. Here's the living room, all that sort of stuff. Make it a short video, about 60 seconds long. Upload that video. Be sure you end the video, by the way, with, my name is Bob Smith. I can be reached at this phone number. Upload that video to your YouTube channel. Okay, so now you've uploaded it to YouTube. Then take the URL in that YouTube channel, copy and paste it into the QR code generator on the 60-second marketer website, and hit submit. And it'll create a QR code right there. You drag that to your desktop, send it to your printer, send it to your sign company, whatever, put it in an ad, and all of a sudden people can scan that QR code, and they'll see your video on YouTube with you saying, hi, I'm Bob Smith. I'm here to show you the inside of this house. If you like the outside and now you've seen the inside, call me and I'll give you a live walkthrough. I give you that example as just kind of a step-by-step example of how to go ahead and execute a QR code campaign. Well, Calvin Jeans did a big, huge deal where they had the side of a building painted with a QR code, and they had this whole thing that said you can see the Calvin Klein Jeans ad uncensored and see what happened behind the scenes by scanning this QR code. And I'll tell you something right now, don't bother. I've scanned it. It's a letdown. I hate to say it. You know, I was being lascivious perhaps and said, hey, I'm going to scan this thing and find out what happens behind the scenes at a Calvin Klein Jeans shoot, and it was really very boring. So long story short is you can avoid that one and save yourself the trouble. Cheeseburgers in McDonald's in Japan have QR codes on them to give health information and discount codes. Some people put them on business cards. You're seeing that a lot these days where people are putting them on business cards so they can scan information and transfer information to people. Disney has used QR codes in an innovative way where they put an image inside the QR code. Other people are putting ads on that say curious, you know, and they'll do the QR code that way. People are putting them on belt buckles. They're putting them on tattoos. They're using them all over the place. Even this company in Scotland went and put a QR code on their Google map that basically was a way for people to scan it. Now, here's the bad news about this company. They went in, they had a QR code. I scanned it. I was like, oh, wow, this is pretty cool. Let's find out where this goes. It goes to their regular web page, not a mobile optimized web page, but just a regular web page. It's a disappointment, and let's be honest here, it's a disappointment to go in, take the trouble to scan a QR code, only to be driven through to a regular home page that has type that's too small to see. If you're going to have a consumer go to the trouble of scanning a QR code, please, please, please have them be driven to a web page that rewards them for that. Here's a discount for our product because you've taken the trouble of doing this. Here's a simplified version of our homepage so you can read it easily. What you don't want to do is drive people through to your regular homepage. People are putting them on the sides of buildings. Scan this QR code and we'll contact you when the building is finished if you're interested in condos at this building. Here's an interesting thing on the left-hand side. I had a Neanderthal exhibit at the Smithsonian. Ironically, the photo looked exactly like my high school yearbook photo. Here's what happened here. The Smithsonian Institution did a very interesting exhibit called the Neanderthal exhibit, and basically what it was, as we know, Neanderthals were cavemen. The Neanderthal exhibit was an exhibit where you could scan a QR code, and through the QR code superimpose what you would have looked like as a caveman over the photo that you took of yourself while you were at the Neanderthal exhibit. And ironically enough, as you can see here in this photo, the Neanderthal exhibit photo looked identical to my high school yearbook photo, which both of those happened back when I had hair, apparently. So let's keep going and talk. Oh, excellent. Take it away.
All right, Albina wanted to know how she can get free QR code reports on number of scans, locations, etc. without subscribing to additional services. Is there any?
That's a great question. So the question was, how do you get the data? There's two ways to get the data. One is there will be places out there that provide some data without having to pay for it. But of course, what they're hoping for is to make money from it. So they're going to. So if you want to get the pro version, then you'll have to get you'll have to pay for it. You can get broad stroke data by using, of course, Google Analytics or any of your analytics programs. So how that would work is basically you've got Google Analytics on your regular website. You would install it on your mobile website, and then you track the number of hits that went to that web page off of your mobile site. And then the only other thing you could do is to track downloads of information. So, for example, it might say, if you're a B2B marketer, it might say, thank you for scanning this QR code. Fill out this short form with your first name, last name, and email, and we will email you a white paper based on you hitting the submit button here, and then that gets emailed to you. Once that happens, you've collected their name and company and email information. I'd encourage you to keep that short. In a lot of cases, if it's a desktop computer, it's worthwhile, and Jeanne, who has a ton of experience at this, said it's sometimes worthwhile to go ahead and have them fill out all the forms. On a mobile page, it's often better to keep it real short and simple just because people don't want to type in too much stuff. Those would be the two free ways, Google Analytics and also actually tracking downloads of a white paper. But other than that, you'd probably have to go to the pro site. Oh, excellent. Nicole, always a wealth of information, tells me that Microsoft Tag has them for free. So there is a free version. Excellent. So go to Microsoft Tag. And by the way, Microsoft Tag has been a big supporter of the 60-second marketer. They've engaged with us in a lot of different ways. And there's some very, very innovative ways that you can use Microsoft Tags, which are basically a form of a 2D code. Okay, cool. Any other questions?
We had another one that was from Aaron. He wanted to know how you create a QR code for likes for Facebook.
Damn, that's a good question. I have no clue. But I'll tell you what.
I'm pretty sure you can't do it so that you can like straight from a QR code, but you can do a QR code that leads to your Facebook page and then ask people to like you.
Okay, cool. So you'd create a QR code, you'd cut and paste the URL from your Facebook page, drop it into the QR code generator, create the QR code that way, and then when people scanned it, it would go straight to your Facebook page. But that's a great question, a hard one, a curveball there, boy. Any other ones? Give me a simple one, like what's the meaning of like? I can answer that.
We have a helpful comment from Brian who's saying that you QR me allows you to change the target from your QR code.
Oh.
So you don't have to continually change the QR code every time you want to send somebody to a different page.
Okay. That is, and that's Brian. Brian is a wealth of knowledge and information. He's a regular visitor to the 60-Second Marketer site. Hello, Brian. Hope you're doing great out there. He's a genius. Every time I get a nudge from Brian about do this, do that, it's always a smart idea. So thank you for that input, Brian. Any other questions?
We have another one. Any idea how many people are really using and able to read QR codes? Or is it really pretty early stage stuff?
It's still pretty early stage stuff, and so the adoption, I think, is only about 15% right now of total mobile phone users, and so it's a smaller percentage. You're going to typically have people who are technologically savvy or in a youth market who are doing it, so it's not widely adopted at this stage of the game, and quite frankly, it's never. I would encourage you to use them because they're a great way to differentiate your company from other companies. But bear in mind that, in my humble opinion, NFC, near field communications, is going to come down the pike in a year or two, and they're going to replace QR codes. So that by the time QR codes are getting adopted and starting to become mainstream, they're going to start getting replaced by NFC. But in the short term, use QR codes to differentiate your brand. Even if somebody doesn't scan the QR code, they're at least going, hey, there's one of those darn strange-looking codes again. Whoever this company is different from the competitors because they're progressive, they're doing things that are at the forefront of marketing, and that's always a good thing. How about any other questions?
I think that's about it.
Great. Well, here's what we've got. Jeanne, thank you very much, and I always appreciate you going in and participating in these, and Jeanne, I just wanted to thank you. I'll see you in Atlanta in a couple of weeks.
Yes, thank you, Jamie. Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. To download this, you can go to 60secondmarketer.com/keynote speaker. The Google searches, if you want to just do Jamie Turner, 60-Second Marketer, or Jeanne Hopkins, HubSpot, you can find us there. You can also follow us at 60-Second Tweets or at Jeanne Hopkins. Jeanne, you must have embraced Twitter very early to grab that. Were you like one of the early adopters on Twitter?
It's been 4 years since I signed up.
Awesome. Well, you got in early. I guess there aren't that many Jeanne Hopkins out there, but I know there's a Jamie.
Actually, I'm actually linked in with 6 Jeanne Hopkins. Same spelling. Isn't that weird?
That is weird. And then finally, folks, if you want to learn more about mobile marketing, go to the gomobile.eventbrite.com page, and basically it'll give you more information about it. Thank you all very much. We are out of time. Jeanne, thank you. Nicole, thank you. And we will see you next time.